Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to show you how to make these really fun personality pencils, and I call them personality pencils because I use a lot of different stitches and stitch techniques for this pencil. I have sized one up using a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook and sized one way down using a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. And you can definitely see the difference. In this tutorial, I am going to be using a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook, and we'll see where that pencil winds up as far as size. Should be somewhere between this small one and this larger one. For some context, let's go ahead and measure from the end, the eraser part, to the very tip of this pencil. So this large pencil is almost 15 inches. It's probably 14 3/4, and that was using a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. The small pencil is just over 11 inches. So let's take a closer look at this pencil. We start with the eraser end, and I'm just going to work single crochets, switching to the gray section, which is that metal section on your pencil, and I use a puff stitch here so you can kind of see there's some texture and definition on this part. Then we work half double crochets in the yellow for the main body of the pencil, switching to a beige color for the end of the pencil, and we're going to be working some simple stitch Tunisian crochet, decreasing on the sides, finishing up with just a very simple single crochet decrease for the charcoal end of your pencil. So I absolutely love these pencils. They are great for teachers. You can pin them up on a board in your classroom. You can make a bunch of different sizes. You can have them pointing to something or writing something on your board. You can string them up into a garland. I like this one for teachers because it is large enough for the entire classroom to see it, and it came out really cute. But again, it is about 15 inches long. As far as the width, I didn't give you the width earlier. This large one is 3.5 inches, and the smaller one is almost 3 inches, about 2 3/4 inches across. And we'll see how the pencil using a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook sizes up compared to those. For this project, I am just using random acrylic yarn that I have in my stash. I have a yellow, I've got a pink for the eraser, I've got a really light beige for the tip of the pencil, along with charcoal for the very tip of the pencil, and the metal part right here where we use the puff stitching. So let's get right into this. To start, we're going to start with our eraser end. So we want our pink yarn, and I'm just going to start with a slip knot on my hook, and I'm going to chain 12. Once you have 12 chains, we're going to work back across doing single crochets. So don't work into this first chain, you want to go into the one right next to it, work a single crochet and a single crochet into every stitch all the way back. I have worked single crochets all the way back. You should have 11 total stitches. We're going to chain one, turn, and we're going to work another 4 rows of just single crochet. So that chain one doesn't count. Make sure you're going right into that first stitch, single crochet and single crochet into every stitch all the way back, and you want to do this 4 more rows, so you'll have a total of 5 single crochet rows for your eraser. I am working my 4th single crochet rows, so a total of 5 single crochet rows for your eraser. On the last single crochet, you're going to start it, pull up a loop, and stop. We want to change to the charcoal gray color. So bring in your gray, lay it over your hook, and just pull it back to finish that single crochet. You can now cut your pink yarn, and we are going to work the puff stitching for that little metal part of your pencil. The first row, we're going to chain 1, turn, and just work a single crochet all the way across in the gray. I've worked 1 single crochet row in the gray. The next row, we're going to chain 1, turn, work a single crochet in that first stitch, and a puff in the next. So a puff stitch, we yarn over, put your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, put your hook in that same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, put your hook, pull up a loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to do this one more time. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and now we can pull, yarn over, and pull back through all of those stitches. We're not going to chain to secure, we're just going to work a single crochet into the next stitch right away, and there's our first puff. So we have a single crochet, we're going to work a puff in the next, you should have 9 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yarn over and pull back through all, and then work a single crochet immediately into the next stitch. A puff into the next. So we go in once, twice, 3 times, and 4. And that should be 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yarn over and pull back through everything. Single crochet immediately into the next. Puff into the next. Single crochet into the next. We've got 2 stitches left. I'm going to work a puff in the next stitch. Yarn over, pull back through everything, and single crochet into that very last stitch. And there is your puff row. It'll show up on the other side. So now you'll be able to tell this is your right side, that's your wrong side. Chain 1. The next row we're just working a single crochet into every stitch all the way across. You should have 11 single crochets. Chain 1, turn, and work the puff row again. So you want to repeat that puff row and the single crochet row twice more. So you should have 3 puff rows and then ending on a single crochet row in the gray. So you can see I have 3 puff rows separated by a single crochet row. I am on that last single crochet row, 1 stitch left on the end. I'm going to work half of that single crochet and stop. I'm going to bring in my yellow for the body of the pencil now. So I'm going to lay that over and just pull back through both loops to finish that single crochet. You can now cut that gray yarn and if you want you can weave in these ends before you continue. I'm just going to continue on and weave them all in at the end. For the first row of the body of your pencil, we're going to chain 2, turn. This chain 2 does not count as a half double crochet, so we need to work a half double crochet into that same stitch right here on the end. Yarn through everything. I'm going to pull my tail. And we want to work half double crochets all the way across. You should have 11 half double crochets at the end of this row. And if you're ever uncertain, if you've lost a stitch on the end, just count. There's only 11, so it's a quick double check. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. We're going to work half double crochet rows for the entire body of the pencil. So every row starts with a chain 2. Because that chain 2 does not count, we want to go right into that same first stitch and work a half double crochet and a half double crochet all the way across. And there's my last stitch on the end. Again, if you're ever unsure if you're working into the right stitch, just count and make sure that you have 11 across. And always remember that that first chain 2 that starts each row does not count. You want to half double crochet right into that first stitch every row. For the body of the pencil, I worked 14 half double crochet rows. You can work as many as you want depending on the length that you want for that body of your pencil, but I'm going to go ahead and work 14 total half double crochet rows, and then I will show you how to join in the beige and work our Tunisian simple stitch. I am working my last half double crochets on row 14 for the body of the pencil. On the last stitch we're going to change color, so I'm going to work a half double crochet, and instead of yarning over here and pulling back with that yellow, I'm going to bring in my beige. So once again, just lay your new color over your hook and pull that through to complete that stitch. We're going to chain 1, we're going to turn, and we're going to work a single crochet all the way across in the beige. Make sure you work into that last stitch. You can always count your stitches, make sure you have 11 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Now we start the Tunisian simple stitch. For purposes of starting the Tunisian simple stitch, I am going to use that chain 1 and that loop on my hook as the first stitch. So that stitch is accounted for. I'm going to work right into the next stitch right here. Put my hook in, pull up a loop, 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to go into the next stitch and do the same thing. So you want to do this all the way across into every stitch, pulling up a loop until you have 11 total loops. And if you're using one of these ergonomic hooks, it will get a little bit tight. I'm just going to suffer through the first few rows before we decrease. So you can see it's really tight in there. That's okay. I'm going to count my stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now we're going to work a reverse pass. I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull back through that first loop only, yarn over, pull back through the next two, yarn over, pull back through the next two, and keep doing that all the way back down for the reverse pass. And I still have that one loop on my hook, and that's okay. You can see now we've got this different texture from the rest of our pencil. And with the Tunisian simple stitch, it will start to pull in. It's a much tighter stitch than using the half double crochet or even a single crochet, and so we start to, without decreasing, we start to get just the slightest indent on our sides. We are going to work one more row of the simple stitch. You can see that there are bars on the front of our work here. We have one loop on our hook and a bar right here. So those two match up like this. We need to do that for the rest of the 10 stitches. So you put your hook right in the front of that bar like this and pull a loop through, and you do it to the next until you have a total of 11 stitches. So just work your way down, pulling up a loop, going through that bar. And again, it will be a little bit tight on your hook with all these stitches if you're using one of these ergonomic hooks. So you can see at the end I've got a bar here going to work into. Now I only have 10 loops on my hook at this point. We need to work into the very end stitch. So there's sort of a bar here, so I like to go into that stitch. Make sure I go through both loops just to make it look a little bit neater. So I'm going to do that again. You want your yarn at the back, go in the very end, pull up a loop, and now you should have 11 loops on your hook. We're going to do the reverse pass, yarn over, pull back through one, yarn over, pull back through two, yarn over, pull back through two, all the way back down. Once you work off some of these loops, it becomes a little bit easier if you're using one of these hooks. And you can see this kind of curls in, so blocking may help with that. The next row, we are going to decrease one on each side. So you have 11 total stitches right now. This loop counts as one. We're going to go into that next vertical bar and the next one. So the next two, like this. Do not use this first loop right here. You want to go right into the next one and the next one. So we're going through two. Yarn over, bring up a loop through those two, and you've decreased one. We're going to work into the next bar, pull up a loop, into the next bar, pull up a loop, into the next, pull up a loop, into the next, pull up a loop, into the next, pull up a loop. Now we have 3 bars left. We've got this one, and then the one on the very end. Don't ever forget about that one over there. We're going to decrease over these next two here. So I'm going to put my hook in that bar and the next bar, pull up a loop, so we've decreased one, and then work into that last bar on the very end, pull up a loop. You should have 9 loops now on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to do the reverse pass in the same way. Yarn over, back through 1, yarn over, pull back through 2, yarn over, back through 2, and so on all the way back down. And now we have decreased, so we have 9 total stitches after that first decrease row. The next row we are not going to decrease, we're just going to work the Tunisian simple stitch. So pulling up a loop through every bar all the way across. You should have 9 loops on your hook. And then we can do the reverse pass, back through 1 and then back through 2 the rest of the way. You can see we're kind of getting that decrease, looks like a sharpened pencil. For the next row we're going to decrease again. So to decrease, I'm going to put my hook into the next 2 bars, pull up a loop, I've decreased. Into the next, just work as usual, into the next, through the bar, pull up a loop, into the next, pull up a loop. I've got 3 bars left, 1, 2, and then that one on the end. I'm going to decrease over these next 2 bars, so put my hook through both of them, yarn over, pull that through, and go into that last bar, trying to get through the 2 loops of that stitch. And now I should have 7 loops. Yarn over, go back through 1, yarn over, back through 2, all the way down. Yarn over, back through 2, back through 2, back through 2. So now you have 7 loops on your hook. We're going to work a non-decrease row. So we're going to go in that first bar, bring up a loop all the way across into every bar. Into that last. You should still have 7 loops on your hook. Yarn over, back through 1, yarn over, back through 2, yarn over, back through 2, yarn over, back through 2, yarn over, back through 2. When you have 2 loops on your hook, stop. We're going to change colors. I'm going to bring in my gray, drape it over my hook, and finish like that. Our first row of gray, we're going to decrease. So I'm going to put my hook through those 2 bars, yarn over with the gray, bring up a loop, go through the next bar, bring up a loop. I've got 3 bars left. I'm going to decrease over the next 2 bars, bring up a loop, and go through that last bar on the end, bring up a loop. You should have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, and do a reverse pass. Yarn over, go back through 1, yarn over, back through 2, back through 2, back through 2, back through 2. Going to flip this and just sort of pull my ends a little bit. And now we have started that very charcoal pencil tip. I'm going to go ahead and cut that beige just to get it out of the way. We're now going to work single crochets in the gray. So we want to chain 1. We're going to work single crochet stitches across this last row of our Tunisian simple stitch. So I've chained 1, and I'm going to work into a spot right before that first bar. So it's almost part of my chain 1. And it's kind of tight. And I'm going to single crochet. I'm going to work into the space next to that first bar, single crochet. Space next to that single crochet, those bars, single crochet. I have 3 single crochets. Space next to or in between those bars, 4 single crochets, and then working a single crochet into that last stitch. We're going to chain 1 and turn. I'm going to single crochet 2 together. So I'm going to work into the first stitch, pull up a loop, work into the second stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all loops, and I have decreased. I'm going to work a single crochet into the next stitch and decrease into the next 2. So into that stitch, and then that first one that we sort of created, I'm going to find that stitch. He's a little tight, there we go, and single crochet 2 together. You have 3 stitches now, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, turn, and we're going to decrease again. I'm going to put my hook in that first stitch, bring up a loop, into the next stitch, bring up a loop, pull back through all 3. I'm going to treat this stitch right here that I just worked into as a stitch. So I have 2 stitches left. I'm going to work into that stitch again, pull up a loop, into the last stitch, pull up a loop, and decrease, chain 1, turn, and do the same thing, a decrease. So in the last 2 stitches there, and decrease. We can fasten off. I'm going to go ahead and weave in all of these ends, and then we will do a final measurement on all of these pencils using the different size hooks. So let's measure this middle one, which was used with the 4.5mm crochet hook, and it is just about 12.5 inches. So we've got an almost 15-inch pencil using the 5.5, a 12.5 using the 4.5, and about 11 inches using the 3.5. So like I said, you can easily size this up or down depending on the size pencil that you want. You can even use crochet thread and a steel hook and see how tiny you can get these little pencils to be. Either way, they're really cute, really fun, and relatively easy. You've got a nice variety of stitches and techniques in this little pencil. Makes for a really cute applique. This pattern is fun to just play around with and see what you can come up with. Great for teachers, great for students, great for college students studying to be teachers or in some sort of education field. You can hang these up in a garland, you can pin them on a cork board, you can put a magnet on the back and make them magnetized. They're great appliques if you have a bag or a sweater. Whatever project you're looking to do, this is a great starter applique for a pencil. You can also, for the larger one, seam up the back and create more of a little amigurumi style pencil. All you'd have to do is just seam up the back, stuff it with some polyfill or some extra little ends of yarn that you have, and you have yourself a little stuffed pencil. I hope you enjoyed this quick pencil tutorial. And for those of you going back to school, going back to teaching, I wish you all a wonderful, happy, healthy school year coming up. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy crocheting everyone. Bye!